Imagine a night where teenage rivalries explode into unimaginable violence. This is the story of Amarillo, Texas, where high school football players and punks clash in a deadly confrontation. On Friday nights in Amarillo, restless energy fills Western Street. Students from rival high schools gather, discussing the night's possibilities. The jocks, known as the White Hats, reign supreme, driving along Western Street with a sense of ownership and self-assurance. At the fringes stand the punks, mocked and bullied by the jocks, enduring relentless harassment and violence. Amarillo turned a blind eye to these cruelties until one night, a brawl erupted with extraordinary violence, changing everything. It was a Friday night, a few weeks before Christmas in 1997. Rumors of a fight between the football players and punks had been circulating all week. Dustin Camp, a junior varsity football player, had an argument with several punks the previous weekend, escalating tensions. Now, Dustin returned to the coffee shop on Western Street, accompanied by varsity tight end Rob Mansfield and valedictorian Elise Thompson. As Dustin's Cadillac approached the coffee shop, a large group of varsity boys and punks armed with bats and chains gathered. The melee began with a ferocity that sent chills through Elise. Dustin steered his Cadillac toward the action, weaving through the fighting boys. Spotting his friend Andrew McCullough being beaten, Dustin snapped, knocking a punk onto the hood of his car. As the punks pummeled the Cadillac, Dustin drove toward the exit but then circled back, picking up speed. He drove steadily toward Brian Denick, a punk striking someone with a chain. Brian turned as the headlights drew nearer. There was a thud. Brian rolled onto the hood before sliding beneath the car. Elise prayed it was only the median she felt under the wheels. Dustin boasted, "I'm a ninja in my caddy," as Elise saw Brian crumpled on the pavement in a pool of blood. The Cadillac sped toward the highway, leaving Brian dying on the pavement. The city's sympathies would soon be divided. Amarillo, a city of contrasts, straddles the flat prairie, a place of contrary impulses and heightened teenage antagonism. High school football holds almost religious significance, with rivalries playing out in pranks, vandalism, and fistfights. For Amarillo's freaks, the raw atmosphere leaves little room for those who deviate from the norm. The punk scene arrived in Amarillo via Interstate 40, bringing a new sound and sensibility to disaffected kids. Punk provided a haven for those who never fit in, offering an all-encompassing lifestyle and a sense of belonging. Brian Denick, a central figure in the punk scene, grew up in a working-class neighborhood, never fitting into the mainstream. Brian's transformation from Boy Scout to punk was marked by constant arguing at home and beatings at school. Despite the harassment, Brian remained defiant, wearing a smiley chain for protection and embracing his punk identity. Brian's death left a void in the punk community, a loss felt deeply by those who knew him. Dustin Camp, a football player with $1 million smile, found himself on trial for Brian's murder. The trial became a condemnation of the punk scene, with the defense portraying Brian as a violent teenager. The jury convicted Dustin of manslaughter, sentencing him to 10 years probation, a verdict that stunned Amarillo. The community's outrage was palpable, with many believing the punishment did not fit the crime. For the punks, the trial reaffirmed their worst fears, revealing the true costs of a social order that valued some boys more than others. Many punks drifted away from the scene, feeling a deep sense of loss and frustration with the system. As the dust settled, the divisions in Amarillo remained, a city forever changed by one tragic night. In Amarillo, some boys are valued more than others.